I tracked every night of sleep for a year. The problem wasn't how much I was getting, it was what kind. I was hitting 7, sometimes 8 hours, getting up at the right time, no screens late, all the advice. But I'd wake up and feel like I hadn't slept at all. Not groggy in the normal way, genuinely unrestored. Like something that was supposed to happen during the night just hadn't happened. And it took me a year of data to understand what that something actually was. I'm Neil, 13 years of NHS blood tests, off all 6 medications since February 2024. I tracked 295 nights in 2025. Sleep quality scored every single one against what I'd eaten, what I'd fasted, where I was in the week. 57 of those nights came back 9 or 10 out of 10. No sleep aids, none. Today, I want to show you what deep sleep actually is structurally, because most people are chasing more hours when the thing they're actually missing is a completely different process. 3 things. First, what slow wave sleep is and what it does that lighter sleep cannot do. Because the glymphatic system, the brain's waste clearance mechanism, only runs properly during deep sleep. And if you're not getting there, you're not just tired, you're accumulating something. That's on screen here. Before we go any further. Second, why most adults over 40 are fighting 2 separate processes simultaneously without knowing it, and why fixing one while ignoring the other doesn't work. That's the 2-process model. And once you understand it, the advice you've been following starts to make more sense and also explains why it hasn't worked. Third, the honest bit. 4 consecutive nights of 4 to 5 hours, November 25, what happened to my decision making, my hunger, and why the metabolic flexibility I'd built over 10 weeks was the only thing that kept the damage contained. Let's start with the waste clearance. September 2015, GP notes, weight gain, tired, tired plus, weight gain. Repeated twice on the same blood test request form. I was sleeping, I just wasn't getting the right kind. Your brain does something at night that it physically cannot do while you're awake. It cleans itself, not metaphorically, literally. There's a network of channels called the glymphatic system that only activates properly during slow wave sleep, the deepest phase of sleep architecture. During the day, your brain accumulates metabolic waste, damaged proteins, cellular debris, beta amyloid plaques. Deep sleep is when the clearance system runs, the channels open. Cerebral spinal fluid moves through the tissue and the waste gets flushed. Think of it like the council bin lorry doing its rounds in your brain. All day, rubbish accumulates, dead cells, metabolic byproducts, the cognitive debris of a busy Tuesday. Deep sleep is when the lorry drives through, clears the lot, hoses down the streets. Miss deep sleep, spend the night in lighter stages and the bins stay full. You wake up carrying yesterday's rubbish into today. That's not a metaphor, that's a measurable biological deficit. Dr. Philip Westbrook, clinical professor at UCLA, leading sleep specialist, put it directly. Poor sleep architecture causes unremembered awakenings that silently impair cognitive performance and metabolic health. The key word there is unremembered. You slept 7 hours. You have no idea you were yanked out of slow wave 3 times between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. The data would show it. Your mornings doesn't explain it. This matters whether you've been diagnosed with anything or not. The glymphatic system doesn't start clearing waste at the point of a diagnosis. It runs every night, or it doesn't, long before anything shows up on a blood test. Now here's the thing most people are missing entirely. Sleep isn't one dial you turn up or down. It's controlled by 2 completely separate processes operating simultaneously. And once you understand both of them, the advice you've been following starts to make sense, and you'll understand why following all of it can still leave you wrecked. Think of the first process like an hourglass. From the moment you wake up, sand starts falling. That's adenosine, a chemical building up in the brain throughout the day. The longer you're awake, the fuller the hourglass gets. When it reaches the threshold, you fall asleep. This is sleep pressure. It's why you feel heavier by 10 p.m. than you did at 9 a.m. The second process is like a pendulum, swinging completely independently of the hourglass. This is your circadian rhythm, your biological clock, running on an approximately 24-hour cycle. The pendulum controls when your brain becomes receptive to sleep, when it's actively resistant to it, and how deep sleep distributes across the night. Here's where most people go wrong. You can have a full hourglass, plenty of adenosine built up, genuinely tired, but if the pendulum is at the wrong point in its swing, sleep won't come easily. Won't run deep. You lie down exhausted and your brain won't switch off. That's not weakness. That's 2 processes that are out of alignment. And there's something about the pendulum that almost nobody knows. Your body starts preparing for waking up before you actually wake. About an hour before your alarm, your muscles are already warming up, genes switching on, metabolic rate rising, blood pressure preparing to support upright activity. Your body knows you're going to wake and it's getting ready before you do. Like a factory bringing the machines up to temperature before the shift starts. That's anticipatory function, only works if the factory knows when the shift begins. Irregular wake-up times disrupt it. The machines can't warm up if they don't know when the day starts. This is why 7 hours at midnight is not the same as 7 hours at 10 p.m. Same duration, completely different architecture. The deep, slow wave stages that are the glymphatic system are weighted to the first third of the night, roughly 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in most people's biology. Miss that window and you get the hours without the clearance. Chrono misalignment, Dr. Michael Bruce's term for living out of sync with your biological clock, has been directly linked to heart disease, diabetes, and metabolic dysfunction, not because you slept less, because you slept at the wrong time. Both processes must align for sleep to do its job. The hourglass needs enough sand. The pendulum needs to be at the right point in its swing. You cannot force either one, but you can stop accidentally working against them. I wanted to test whether what I was eating and what I was eating was actually showing up in sleep quality data, not whether I felt better, whether the data moved. 295 nights in 2025, sleep quality scored every single one, 1 to 10 against food pattern, eating window timing, fasting state, and where I was in the week. What came back was not what I expected. 57 nights scored 9 or 10 out of 10. Not restless, not okay, genuinely restorative, the kind where you wake up and something is actually different. No sleep aids, no melatonin, no anything. The nights that failed dropped to 5 or 6 weren't the late nights, weren't the busy days. The single strongest predictor of a bad night in my data was eating late and eating poorly. Not the hour of sleep, the quality and timing of what I'd put in my body in the 6 hours before closing my eyes. One evening, cake, chocolate, wine. I tracked what happened over the following 6 days. Day 1, sleep disrupted. Days 2 through 5, low-grade brain fog, hunger elevated, restless nights. Day 6, baseline was restored. I validated that pattern 3 times. Same sequence, same timeline. 6 days to feel normal after 1 evening of sugar and alcohol. The mechanism isn't mysterious once you understand it. Alcohol doesn't help you sleep, it sedates you. Being unconscious isn't the same as sleeping. The glymphatic system runs during deep, slow wave sleep. Alcohol suppresses that phase. You spend more time in lighter stages. You wake more frequently and don't remember it. And you achieve the hours while missing the function entirely. The lorry never shows up. The bins, they stay full. Late eating does something similar through a different mechanism. Your digestive system has its own circadian rhythm. It expects the kitchen to close. When food arrives late, it disrupts the repair work that should be running. The system that should be doing overnight maintenance is still processing instead. Now the honest bit, days 22 to 25 of the 70-day rhythm reset, 3rd of November 25 to the 6th, 4 consecutive nights of 4 to 5 hours sleep. What happened wasn't dramatic, it was entirely biological. Cortisol elevated, couldn't fully shut down overnight. Decision circuits degraded. By day 25, I ate an entire tub of shortbread, roughly 2,000 calories. Not because I was physically hungry, because ghrelin spiked, leptin dropped, and that prefrontal cortex that normally runs the quality control had been running on fumes for 4 nights. The weight spike was only 1.5 pounds. That was the metabolic flexibility built over 10 weeks doing its job, absorbing the hit. But the decision failure was real. The hunger dysregulation was real. And the cause wasn't what I ate or didn't eat. It was 4 nights of insufficient sleep cascading through my biology. Rangan Chatterjee, GP, University of Edinburgh, makes the case in a way that still pulls me up short. Losing just 1 night of sleep may trigger as much insulin resistance as 6 months on a junk food diet. 1 night! Sleep isn't just rest, it's metabolic intervention. The 57 good nights, the pattern was almost boring once I saw it. Eating finished by 7 p.m. or earlier, nothing sugary in the preceding 48 hours. Fasted state of at least 12 hours since the last meal. Consistent wake time within 30 minutes the previous day. No alcohol. That's it. The factory knew when the shift started and the repair crew could do their job. I'll be straight with you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. And I've never been on a morning TV sofa. I'm a 53-year-old Yorkshireman who got fed up and fixed it with data. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe. New videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. If I were starting this from scratch, knowing only what the 295 night dataset actually showed, the one thing I'd have done earlier is sort the eating window before touching anything else in my sleep routine. Not the bedroom temperature, not the screen time, not the magnesium supplement, the eating window. Everything I tried in the first few months, earlier bedtimes, no screens, blacking out the room, produced marginal improvements. The data barely moved. The moment I consistently finished eating by 7 o'clock and kept sugar and alcohol out of the 48 hours before a night I cared about, the sleep quality data moved significantly, not gradually, within a week. The mechanism explains why. Finishing eating 2 to 3 hours before sleep gives the glymphatic system the condition it needs. The digestive system stops competing for overnight resources. The repair crew can clock on without the day crew still being in the building. The minimum effective dose, if you want to test this, 1 week. Commit to finishing eating by 7 p.m. every night, not restricting what you eat during the day, just closing the kitchen at 7. Score your sleep quality every morning, 1 to 10. Don't change anything else, just that one variable. What you're looking for isn't dramatic. You're looking for whether the average scores move over 5 to 7 nights. If it does, you may well have found your lever. On timeline, don't judge week 1. Your body needs a few nights to recalibrate. The data I saw most clearly was in weeks 2 and 3. Give it 3 weeks before drawing any proper conclusions. On consistency of wake time, pick a time and keep it within 30 minutes every day, including weekends. The pendulum calibrates to a consistent signal. 2 weeks of consistent wake time combined with the early eating window is the combination that moved my data most reliably. I've put together a simple sleep quality tracker, the exact format I used across the 295 nights. Logs your sleep score, eating finish time, fasting window, and anything notable from the previous evening. Nothing complex, the link's in the description, and it's free. Please remember, this is educational content only. It's not medical advice. Speak to your GP before changing your fasting pattern, diet or medication, especially if you're on diabetes or blood pressure medication.